Welcome to Timeless Chronicles. Explore history and fascinating stories from the best actors who played historical royals on film and television. Subscribe now for captivating content that takes you beyond time. Timeless Chronicles, history, mysteries. Enjoy this video. Cate Blanchett as Queen Elizabeth I. Cate Blanchett has played Queen Elizabeth I, who enjoyed one of the longest reigns in English history, ruling from 1558 to 1603, 2 times. First in 1998's Elizabeth, and then in the 2007 sequel, Elizabeth. Colin Firth as King George VI. 2010's The King's Speech dramatizes King George VI, who led the United Kingdom through World War II, and his struggles to overcome his debilitating stammer. Colin Firth stars as the troubled king. Claire Foy as Queen Elizabeth II. Netflix spared no expense for The Crown, which ranks as one of the most expensive television series ever produced. Natalie Dormer as Anne Boleyn. Before she was Margaery Tyrell in Game of Thrones, Natalie Dormer was Anne Boleyn in The Tudors, Showtime's sexed-up version of the story of Henry VIII and his 6 wives. Henry executed Boleyn, perhaps his best-known and most controversial bride, in 1536. Matt Smith as Prince Philip. The Crown attempts to delve into the private life of Queen Elizabeth II and her family over the course of several decades. Matt Smith played her husband, Prince Philip, for the show's first 2 seasons. Judi Dench as Queen Victoria. Though Judi Dench won an Oscar for playing Queen Elizabeth I in 1998's Shakespeare in Love, her royal cred runs deep. Dench has twice starred as Queen Victoria. Rebecca Ferguson as Elizabeth Woodville. The television series The White Queen, based on Philippa Gregory's novel, tells the story of the Wars of the Roses from the perspective of Elizabeth Woodville. Jonathan Rhys-Meyers as King Henry VIII in The Tudors, Showtime's steamy series about Henry VIII. Jonathan Rhys-Meyers takes the starring role. Emily Blunt as Queen Victoria. Most people imagine Queen Victoria, who reigned over the United Kingdom for the vast majority of the 19th century, as she appeared in photographs at the end of her life. Helen Mirren as Catherine the Great. Helen Mirren may have played Queen Elizabeth II twice. She won an Oscar for her portrayal of Elizabeth in The Queen and played her again on stage in the audience, but she has also depicted Russian royalty. Olivia Colman as Queen Anne. Though the lives of English and Scottish queens like Elizabeth I, Mary of Scotland, and Victoria have long been fodder for period dramas, Queen Anne, who reigned from 1702 to 1714, has never gotten the same Hollywood attention. Jodie Comer as Princess Elizabeth. 2017's The White Princess was the sequel to The White Queen. The television series follows Elizabeth of York's betrothal and marriage to Henry VII in 1486, a union that put an end to the Wars of the Roses and secured the new Tudor dynasty. Saoirse Ronan as Mary, Queen of Scots. Saoirse Ronan stars as the eponymous Scottish Queen in Mary, Queen of Scots. The 2018 film focuses on Mary's return to Scotland from France, where she had lived in childhood, and eventual downfall in 1567. Elle Fanning as Catherine the Great. Elle Fanning stars as Catherine the Great, 18th century Russia's supreme empress, in The Great. The irreverent, only partly historically accurate Hulu series is a comedy about Catherine's rocky early years at the Russian court. Kirsten Dunst as Marie Antoinette. Sofia Coppola's Marie Antoinette is a stylized riff on the life of France's most controversial queen. Starring Kirsten Dunst as Marie Antoinette, the film explores how she went from fish out of water at the French court to disconnected queen who swapped politics for pleasure, especially fashion. Timothée Chalamet as Henry V. 2010's The King adapts William Shakespeare's plays about Henry V to the screen. Timothée Chalamet stars as Henry in the historically uneven film. Natalie Portman as Anne Boleyn. Based on Philippa Gregory's novel, 2008's The Other Boleyn Girl shifts the spotlight from Anne Boleyn to her older sister and one-time mistress of Henry VIII, Mary Boleyn. Leonardo DiCaprio as King Louis XIV. Leonardo DiCaprio played two roles in 1998's The Man in the Iron Mask. Based on Alexandre Dumas' novel, the film follows the Musketeers' fictional attempts to replace cruel Louis XIV with his kindly twin brother, who had been imprisoned and forced to wear an iron mask to hide his identity. Margot Robbie as Queen Elizabeth I, 2018's Mary Queen of Scots, partly attempts to parse the relationship between the Scottish Queen and her English cousin Elizabeth I, played by Margot Robbie.